have a question for you today. Does the word gratitude or the word thankful feel a little bit like a four-letter word to you? If it does, then let's go on a journey together, because I can relate a little bit. I can have a level of understanding for that and grace to you. First off, I want to tell you about a time that I went through Hobby Lobby. So quite a handful of months ago, after my husband had passed away, I had the bright idea, and I'm meaning like within the first few days, to go to Hobby Lobby. And I love Hobby Lobby. It's a happy place. You get to see like sparkling, shiny things and happy decor, right? Happy things. Well, I thought that will make me feel better because it just helps you get inspired to do neat things, whatever. So I started walking around Hobby Lobby, and I started to get really emotional and overwhelmed because I would see inspirational quotes or signs or something that would be meant to be encouraging that said, blessed life, or, thankful and blessed. How about, I even have an example. Like if you see something that says like this, thankful and blessed. Well, after you lose someone, these types of statements could feel like a challenge. They're right, but it doesn't feel like it at that moment because all you're feeling is pain. And I'm actually recording this video the week before Thanksgiving. Thankfully, there's been some time since my first Hobby Lobby trip, but I still have a lot of compassion for someone that if they were going around and they're having a hard time identifying and resonating with these words, like maybe you're not feeling that and all you're feeling is pain. First off, I can tell you, I understand. Pain can at first feel very loud, and I'd like to say that's kind of normal. So give yourself grace. But I also can tell you, now that I've been on this journey almost 7 months, that it does get better, and it's not as sharp. It's maybe more a little like a dull pain. It doesn't feel like it's stabbing you in the heart all the time. It doesn't mean you're not missing someone. It just means you're learning to still have hope for something to be good in your life, to still live your life to the fullest in a way that could honor your loved one. And I've had to learn to practice to embrace these words. And it might take you quite a few attempts, and that is okay. Sometimes you have to practice something before it becomes a natural response. Just like you're working out or exercising, sometimes you need to strengthen that muscle, and it might just, all you might feel is pain and soreness from that exercise. But it does get better and it does get easier. I'd like, though, to encourage you to look for God's fingerprints in your life in the middle of a storm or after a storm, because I guarantee they're there somewhere. It might be similar to something that my family went through. Like there are people that have blessed us financially so that I could make sure I could pay certain bills or do something for my kids, or so they could have music lessons or something like that, or help with school. Or maybe someone brought us a meal or just sent me a text message to check in on me. Like all of those things are something that I can attach to these words that I may struggle with at first and go, I can be thankful for that. I can feel blessed. I know in my journey that God has helped us through a lot of things, and even just administratively, for me, like losing a spouse, there are phone calls that you have to make. Feels like you're undoing your life from someone else. And I learned I just had to practice gratitude by going, I actually had a nice person on the other line when I called somewhere. That person was compassionate and helped me. That's an invitation to exercise gratitude. Sometimes we think gratitude is this all or nothing thing, like everything is perfect in life, thus I am grateful. Well, it doesn't work like that. I don't know. If you figured out how to make your life perfect all the time, then you should be making videos and tell me. I have not figured out that, but I have learned that being thankful and being grateful help me get through something really hard. gratitude does change how you heal. And I do think it influences the speed of your healing. Not that there should ever be a comparison of speed, because everybody's journey is different, but I feel like I've gotten to a place where I can have more peace and more hope for the future by looking at what I have still and what God is doing, and even where He took care of us when things were really hard. It's helped me heal and not feel so like, something stabbing me. Grief can come in waves, but it doesn't feel like a tidal wave each time. And I think that's a key thing. I think it has to do a lot with this gratitude stuff. And there are times where I have to remind myself that what I went through shouldn't disqualify me from being grateful to God, because He's not the author of bad things. He is not the creator of bad things. And I think sometimes when we're in pain, we attach responsibility for bad things onto God, and that's not fair to Him, because it would violate His character if He did bad things. I was reading my Devo today, and I have this linked on my website too. It's, Encountering the Goodness of God. It's a Devo by Bill Johnson. And we have to be very careful that we maintain the perspective that God is good and attach that through exercising of gratitude, because it's key. It's hard to give God gratitude if we think that He did something wrong. So I'm going to read this quote. The view of God causing evil ultimately compromises our ability to discern the difference between discipline and an actual demonic assault. And that is a weakness we cannot afford to carry around any longer. There are times where God will give us course corrections, but He does it as a loving Father. Then there are times where bad things happen, and that is not from God. That was a demonic attack, because the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So we have to make sure we don't attach responsibility for bad things in the wrong place, because if we can keep that clean in us, it'll be a lot easier to not resent little signs like give thanks. and when we see Thanksgiving posts, for me, I'm kind of ramping up in that time period right now. If I see a lot of posts about Thanksgiving and gratitude, I don't resent it all, because I realize, hey, no, God is good, and He is taking care of us. He's sustaining us through the storm. And that is something to be grateful for. And I know that you may have to start small, and that is okay. If you have to thank God for your cup of coffee in the morning, then do that. If you want to thank God that you got somewhere on time and had a lot of green lights, do that. If you want to thank God for chocolate, I mean, that is a beautiful thing. Chocolate is great. Just start there, and you might be surprised at where it can pop up during the day, where you can be grateful for, and how you might do it naturally. Just start somewhere and see what happens. This is an invitation to try, not an invitation to be perfect, just to try. So try to find God's fingerprints around you of where He took care of you, so that maybe, just maybe, we can wrap our head and heart around 1 Thessalonians 5:18, to give thanks in all circumstances. Because what's incredible is that verse says this is the will of God for our life. That's mind-blowing. Sometimes people go their whole life what's the will of God for my life? Here's one easy answer: to give thanks in all circumstances. Because He knows us humans are likely to get probably occasionally depressed or sad or frustrated or even angry. But it's really hard to stay in any of those spots if we have a mindset of gratitude. Gratitude heals so much, and it even helps with grief. So I hope that this encourages you And if you are finding this around Thanksgiving, just like I am going through right now, just start little by little and try to give thanks little by little for each little thing. Much love to you all.